Okay, so this introduction is about 2 minutes long, and just bear with me, but I needed to explain some things that led up to this experiment. I had this Rekluse clutch installed on my 2020 TriGlide in June of 2021, and I got about 4,500 miles on it right now. The first thing I noticed after the shop installed the clutch was that the clutch pull force was noticeably harder. I thought to myself, well, I can live with that. I did some research on how maybe I could make that clutch pull force easier, and I came to the conclusion that I should upgrade my clutch slave cylinder. Since I already had the Rekluse Radius X clutch installed on the 2020 TriGlide, it made sense to me to install the same brand of clutch slave cylinder, so I ended up purchasing a Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder. I took a clutch pull force measurement before I installed the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder, and then after the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder was installed, I took another clutch pull force measurement. Somewhere in my research I had read where the clutch pull force measurement on a Harley Davidson touring bike was about 20 pounds. I don't know how or who come up with this figure, but in my research I could not find an engineering paper that stated the exact clutch pull force on a Harley Davidson touring bike. So I hooked up a mechanism, and this is science according to Chuck, to measure the clutch pull force. And again, this is not an exact science, but it just gave me a general idea. Here right now I'm just going to do a clutch pull force test. It's about 23 degrees out, the bike's cold, and I'll do another one when the bike's warm, just to compare what they're like between warm and cold. And this is my contraption I got set up, with this being the clutch lever right here and this being the U bolt right here. And I got it taped on her so it doesn't move around, and this is the ball end of the clutch lever. And this is the pull scale I'll be using. And this is my scientific scale I'm using. It's actually a luggage scale I bought off of eBay for $10. Oh well. And when I pull on it, I'll make sure that this does not come in contact with the hand grip. Okay, so we'll zero the pound lever out, like so, and then we'll make our clutch pull test as we pull it slowly in and slowly, so you can read the numbers. And what does it read right now? Start pulling. Stop. Okay, so before we had the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder installed, we had a clutch force pull of 15.91 pounds. We'll just call that 16. And then after we had the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder installed, we had a clutch force pull reading of 9.76. So we'll just call that 10. So we see a 6-pound reduction in clutch force pull after the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder was installed. But if you had an eagle eye after the slave cylinder was installed, and I was doing the clutch force pull test, as I was pulling it, and if you're watching the numbers closely, you would have saw it had reached 10.05 pounds of clutch pull force. And here's a picture of the number it reached at about 3/4 of the way through the pull, 10.050. And it finally ended up being 9.76. So in all actuality, we had a 6-pound reduction from before and after the slave cylinder was installed. So in the real world, these numbers mean really nothing to you because they're just numbers. In reality, a person needs to get out there and actually feel that clutch. And I'm here to tell you that it was pretty hard to pull before the clutch slave cylinder was installed, and after it was installed, I could honestly say it was probably about half the clutch force pull as it was when the OEM clutch was on there. So was it worth the money to buy the clutch slave cylinder and have it installed? And I would say yes, it's worth it. All right, that concludes the test on the before and after installation of the Rekluse Clutch Slave Cylinder.